Coming up, an exciting look into the U.S. Tennis and Surfing Open.
Plus, a triumphant return to the Summer Olympics and a WNBA season like no other.
I'm Anoushka Nair.
And I'm Kirby Glass.
All this and so much more.
Rambler Sports Locker begins now. Don't you just love a new beginning?
Yes, doesn't it feel so good to be back? I don't know about you, but I definitely missed my RSL family and this lovely upgraded studio.
Well, I'm new to the family and already loving it. There's so much going on here in Rambler Nation.
It's just the second week of school, but there has already been plenty of news in Loyola sports. Let's hand it over to Dylann for the Rambler Rundown.
School is officially in session, which means college sports are back on for the fall season. These past couple weeks here at Loyola, we've had our first few home games. We got to see the start of sports like men and women's soccer, women's volleyball, and cross country. During Welcome Week, students were given the opportunity to see our women's soccer team go up against DePaul. This rivalry game got quite a bit of attention, setting the attendance record at Hoyne Field with 1,178 people attending the game. Lucky for us, the Ramblers took home the win against their Red Line rivals, beating them 1-0. A 3-0 loss on the road against Wisconsin, also on Saturday. They win against Bowling Green, winning 1-0 again as a result of Taylor Harrison's first goal of the season. Their next game is this Sunday at Michigan State at noon. Continuing with soccer, the men's soccer team officially renewed the tradition of their Jesuit Invitational Tournament, where the Ramblers tied 1-1 with Creighton and lost 1-0 to Omaha. Their next game will be at UIC on Thursday at 7:30. The women's volleyball team played in the Western Michigan Invite, opening a loss to the Clemson Tigers 3-0 and a loss against the Western Michigan Broncos the following day. But things have been looking up since their last game, where they swept the Loyola Marymount Lions. Next, they'll play the Michigan State Invite September 6th through 8th.
Thanks, Dylann. Now let's hear from Shreeya Pattekar about Keough Golf and the world of tennis.
Thanks, Anoushka. Keough Golf was unable to defend her U.S. Open title, losing to Emma Navarro on Sunday. Golf won the second set 6-4, but lost the first and third, both 6-3. This was a tough match for Golf. She hit 19 double faults to Navarro's 2. Golf admits there were too many free points on her serve. This was not the first time Golf was beaten by Navarro. Golf lost to her in the fourth round of Wimbledon last month, 6-4 and 6-3. While Golf believes her service record is more of a mental obstacle rather than a technical one, she is still open to working with the mechanics coach. Golf hopes to improve her service in the future, saying, quote, "I don't want to lose matches like this anymore." That's all we have for tennis, but there was another U.S. Open this summer. Next up, we're going to dive into U.S. Open of surfing. Here's Chris Gloff with the highlights.
The 2024 Lexus U.S. Open of Surfing hit the shores of Huntington Beach, California in early August. This event is annually the world's largest surf competition and attracts top surfers from around the globe over the course of 9 days. The Paris Olympics caused Open organizers to schedule this year's competition a week later than recent years to accommodate the world's best surfers who are competing over 4,000 miles away in Teotihuacan, Tahiti, until just a couple of days before the Open was scheduled to begin. In addition, the Open also hosts concerts, giveaways, and special events to celebrate what marks the summit of the surfing season. Long Beach, California native Sublime opened the week's events with a concert on the beach. In all, over 450,000 fans descended on the south side of Huntington's Pier to catch a glimpse of women's ranked number 2 in SoCal Zone, Carolyn Marks, fresh off her Olympics medal run, along with men's number 1 and 2 ranked, John Florence from Hawaii and the U.S.'s Griffin Calapinto, respectively.
I think the U.S. Open is one of the largest surf competitions in the world because we are in Surf City and it's a place that holds a lot of surf history and culture. It's very special for people to come and check out like how much people put into like all this down here, you know, like what is behind the scenes, the work that goes behind like for the surfers and, you know, even the culture, like what all the surfers stand for and yeah, just the vibes. Like it's so awesome down here.
In total, 80 men and 48 women battled it out in heats of 4 to get to their respective brackets and ultimately finals day, where Australian Sally Fitzgibbons faced a young San Clemente surfer in Bella Kenworthy. Kenworthy took an early lead, but it wasn't long until Fitzgibbons, who was the Open runner-up last year, found this wave on the back of Kenworthy's ride. It took the judges nearly 5 minutes to post a score, which catapulted Fitzgibbons into the lead around the 6-minute mark. Kenworthy looked for one last steep section as time was running out, but this wave just dissipates, and Sally Fitzgibbons is the 2024 Women's U.S. Open of Surfing champion. It's the second time she's won the event, 13 years following her first title in 2011. The win also comes on the heels of her induction into the nearby Surfing Walk of Fame just a couple days earlier.
Bella kind of got the jump on me, so I kind of felt like the more opportunities I could give myself. Some of them definitely borderline, but there's been so many finals where I've just needed a 5 or a 6, and it's really hard to get. So that was the plan. I just kept rolling the dice.
In the men's final, history would be made as Alan Cleland, just back from competing at the Olympics, faced French surfer Marco Mignot in the finals. Mignot took an early lead and never let Cleland catch up, except when there were just 3 seconds left on the clock, creating an exciting end for the finals and the crowd erupting in cheer as Cleland is allowed to finish the wave after time expires. The men sat in the water, waiting for a score, Cleland needing a 6.6, and when the score dropped, it was a 6.7. Cleland is the first surfer from Mexico to win the U.S. Open.
That whole time, just believing in myself that there was going to be a wave. Yeah, it was crazy just hearing 30 seconds and then hearing the people on the pier like, hey, there's a wave outside. I was like, oh my God, here we go. And, you know, surfing the wave, knowing the heat was done, I just didn't have nothing to explain it. And then now we're here, I'm just rattled, to be honest.
And a little bit of trivia, the trophies each winner received were created from recycled materials salvaged from a restaurant that once sat at the end of the Huntington Beach Pier but was destroyed in an El Nino storm in 1983. Fitting for the sport of surfing. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Chris Gloff.
Thanks, Chris. It must have been so cool to see those waves. The WNBA has seen a surge of new fans thanks to a star-studded draft class. We've learned to love the rookies and cherish the veterans throughout the summer. As the league gets ready for the playoffs, conversations about who could win the regular season awards have already begun. Here are a few of the awards and the favorites. A'ja Wilson became a favorite for MVP at the start of the season after winning back-to-back championships with the Las Vegas Aces. As the season goes by, Wilson pulled further away from the rest, averaging 27.5 points, 12.1 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 1.9 steals. She proved that she's one of the best in the league. The conversation for Rookie of the Year is between Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever and Angel Reese of the Chicago Sky. Both women have set their own rookie records for the league, but currently Clark has the lead on Reese, and many believe that she has locked down the award. The race for most improved player is very close. Kalia Copper of the Phoenix Mercury, Trinity Carter of the Chicago Sky, and Dejanay Carrington of the Connecticut Sun all showed major improvements in their game. It's going to be a photo finish for this award, so there is no room for error for these women. The WNBA regular season ends on September 19th, so there is still time for these players to make big strides towards the awards. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Kirsten Richardson.
Thanks, Kirsten.
Wow, that really does sound like a packed draft class. The WNBA sounds like they are ready to give us a good season, and I could not be more excited to watch it all play out.
I can't wait to see Ellie the Elephant and the new Chicago Sky mascot, Sky the Lioness, go head-to-head for the first time. Speaking of first, we saw a lot of those this summer at the Olympics. Let's go to Caroline for more.
A Simone Biles comeback, breakdancing, and so much more was brought to us thanks to the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. With a whopping 125 medals in total, the United States brought home the most medals. Over 30 million people watched the Summer Olympics this year, marking it an 82% increase from the Tokyo Olympic Games. This year, there was no shortage of show-stopping performances, such as Simone Biles winning 3 gold medals and a silver medal in her epic comeback, to Snoop Dogg becoming the U.S. ambassador, which I, for one, am here for. This year marked another remarkable moment with men and women being equally represented in the Olympics. A push from the International Olympic Committee for 2024 was to include more mixed-gender team events. Although the Olympics are done, the Paralympics are still on until September 8th, with sports such as sitting volleyball, wheelchair rugby, and boccia,
a game where athletes throw a ball as close as they can to white marker balls. Tell us in the comments which Olympic sport you could become the GOAT at. Personally, I think breakdancing is the one for me, but let us know. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Caroline Lyngen.
Thanks, Caroline. It is now time for everyone's favorite debate, the Ramble. I'll hand it over to our host, Oliver Allen.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another year of The Ramble. I'm your new host, Oliver Allen, and I'm here with Jenny Marchi and Brandon Wolak. And ladies and gentlemen, the Bears are back in town. That's right everyone, the Bears open up the 2024 NFL season at Soldier Field against the Tennessee Titans this Sunday at noon. And after a disappointing 2023 campaign, the Bears have completely revamped their offense, trading first-round pick Justin Fields, signing Pro Bowl running back DeAndre Swift, drafting Washington wide receiver Rome Odunze, and trading for six-time Pro Bowler Keenan Allen. Arguably the most impactful acquisition was drafting USC star quarterback Caleb Williams with the #1 overall pick. So after a 4-0 preseason, I ask you, what are your expectations for the Bears this season? Jenny?
Honestly, I feel like it's pretty promising. Just across Lake Michigan, our neighbors, they did really good. I feel like this decade is a decade for underdogs. Lions knocked out of the park. I feel like it's the Bears' turn.
Well, the Lions and Packers did make substantial gains, and Packers weren't even expected to be in a playoff spot. The Bears this year, can they keep up with their rivals just to the north? My answer for that right now would be no. The Lions and Packers proved last year that they have what it takes to get to the big dance. Can they keep going and further that chance into a Super Bowl? The Bears are they're still taking their baby steps. They still need to build up to where they are. They've gone out and got Keenan Allen to mentor Rome Odunze. They've gone out, they've got Caleb Williams at the draft. Will he be the franchise quarterback this team has been looking for? It's yet to see.
Now, Brandon, I'll ask you, what do you think that the Bears could do maybe at like a trade deadline acquisition or just looking forward for next year to really put them in the groups with those big dogs?
Well, last year they went out at the trade deadline and they bought. They got Montez Sweat as an edge rusher. He played fantastic down the stretch and he led the team in sacks. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw them go out and get another edge at this season. They went out, they got Darnell Taylor before the season. Will that be enough? I think I'd prefer him as depth. Overall, I think they'll be buyers at the deadline. The question if they'll get to the playoffs, though, remains unseen.
Yeah. All right, now let's hear some record predictions. Jenny, what are we thinking?
I'm thinking they're going to win 9. They're going to lose 8. Half and half.
Yeah. Gotta say, I'm looking at a 10-7 record, but out of the playoffs.
Well, I'm with you on half of that. I'm thinking 10-7, and I think they sneak in as a wild card team. Well, that wraps up this episode of The Ramble. Jenny, Brandon, I will hold on to those record predictions, and we'll see how they age come the end of the season. Let's swing this back to the anchors, and we'll see you all for next week's Ramble.
Thanks, everyone. It's been such a blast to be back here in the studio.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see what we do this year.
That wraps up this episode of Rambler Sports Locker.
To stay up to date on all things Rambler Sports, be sure to follow us on X, TikTok, and Instagram at Loyola RSL and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
From all of us here at Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Anoushka Nair.
And I'm Kirby Glass.
We'll see you next week, and don't forget to turn off the lights.